So stand tall, put your feet together, your toes should be pointing forwards and your heels should be slightly apart from themselves like that. Now just stack yourself up like books, so your knees should be above your ankles, your hips should be above your knees, your shoulders should be above your hips, and your head just rests on top, nice and in the centre, as if there's an imaginary string coming out the top, going up, pulling you up nice and straight. Now bring your core up, tilt your pelvis slightly inwards and drop your shoulders down. Make the back of your neck nice and long and point straight down with your fingers. Now take a couple of deep breaths in at this stage, really open up the lungs. On the next breath in, raise your hands out to the side and put them together in a prayer position, look up towards them and then swan dive down. If you need to bend your knees, put your head to your chest and then go up on your fingertips, make a triangle with your body, breathing in. Then ground your hands down onto the floor, step back or jump back into a plank. So come down from the plank, roll the toes, and bring the chest through into upward dog. Look up, breathe in, and then when you breathe out, roll the toes backwards, and then take one step forwards if you need to, and pull everything backwards into downward dog. Now you should feel a lovely line going from your fingertips all the way to your pelvis. Draw everything back towards your pelvis. Just check your neck is nice and loose. Check your shoulders aren't holding any tension. Keep pulling back and then try and drop the heels to the ground. You may need to cycle, kind of bend your knees, one and then the other one. If it hurts, keep on pulling backwards. Keep on checking that your neck's loose. Look at your stomach, really stretch. Should be breathing, take about 7 breaths here. Each breath try and focus on something else. Make sure your arms are nice and long. Make sure you can feel your fingertips and they're nice and wide. When you finish your 7 breaths, look up between your hands, come back and then take a big step between your hands. Your toes and your hands should be in line with each other. Bring the other one too. Just walk your toes up so they are in line. Make that lovely triangle again. Breathing in, breathe out, head to your knees, bend your knees if you need to. The aim here again is to pull up with your pelvis. And then take a next deep breath in, engage your core, raise your body right up. Look at your palms and then bring them back down to the sides. Keep the concentration, don't fidget or jiggle with your clothes. Take a deep breath in, go straight into the next one. Out breath. Coming up for a triangle on the in breath. Ground down and back on the out breath. Breathing in. Through into cobra upward dog, back into downward dog, breathing out. 7 breaths here. First one, think about drawing everything back towards your pelvis. Second one, make sure your arms are nice and long, your fingertips going all the way through to your pelvis, makes a nice line. Third one, maybe cycle or pedal a little bit, bending your knees. Next one, try and drop those heels into the ground, think of everything loosening. Take a nice deep breath in, look at your stomach. Make sure your head's loose, your shoulders are loose.
focusing on your nice deep breaths. When you finish, look up between your hands and kind of spring forwards. Try and get those toes and fingers in line. If you hang out here, you'll feel a nice lunge as well. Bring the other one. Now come up into a triangle. Breathing in, breathe out, head to knees. Engage your core, come all the way up. Look at your hands together and then come back down by your sides. Now I'm just going to do it with a breath. In, out, in, out, in, out. Look up between your hands. Walk your toes up in line with your fingers. Up into a triangle, in, out. Breathe in, come up. And out, come down.
You can do that for 5 rounds and you should feel really alive and awake and like you've had a good workout. So this is a really good way to check that you're getting the right distance when you're doing downward dog. So just come into up on all fours. Make sure your shoulders are above your wrists and your knees are slightly apart, nice and straight, and above your hips. And then you roll your toes under and then just come up.
And that's a really good position for downward dog. You can just come back down, and if you want to, just stretch out. Again, coming up onto all fours. Just check you're in alignment, roll the toes under and come up. And back down and into child pose.
That's quite a nice variation if you're new to sun salutations, good way to get into it. So this is a variation you can do when you're in the middle of the sun salutation. So we're down in the plank and bring our feet through as far as you can. So ideally if their fingertips and toes are in line. And then you turn your foot slightly at an angle and then come up. Get your balance and then draw your hands above your head and put your palms together and look up. And then you come down, put your hands either side of your toes, come back into the plank, lunge through into upward dog. Come back, then you can turn the other foot, bring the other toe as far as you can up between your fingers. Steady yourself and bring your hands up. Look up at them, hands together. Come back down, back into a plank, upward dog, and then downward dog as usual. So as you see, you can play around with the variations, just do what feels good for you, and anything you do is going to make you feel better. Thanks for watching on Jo from Tauranga Massage.